Hello once again, and welcome back to the EU Challenger League playoffs. Look at this. We've got another match for you. Mkers versus Acend. We've just seen Helios exit the tournament. Viperia 86 progress. Lovely little 2-0. I really enjoyed it. My name's Ian Chambers. We are back on the desk with X and Demo. Welcome back, guys. Before we go anywhere, I feel like we should reflect on that first series there. I'm going to come to you first, X. Number one, are you sad to see Helios drop?
I think yes and no. And the hesitation made me tell you.
Say it with your chest. Say it with a chest. Come on.
I think that it's going to be nice for teams to know what they're going up against.
True.
We've obviously seen everybody that's played Helios has had a really hard time of knowing what they're coming up against. And Helios have been the hit and miss team. We've not seen consistency from them in terms of their play style and in terms of who's popping off. And that's been something that it can be a little bit difficult to watch. It can be a little bit difficult to follow and really start to get behind people. So for me, yeah, I think it's natural that Helios' journey comes to an end here.
And several 86 players really stepped up to the mark there to get them over the line, Demo.
It was a full team performance, which I don't think we've seen in the first week from them. That was the main difference, was we've seen some players pop off. But as we know, consistency, everyone needs to do it. You look at M&M, for example. Yeah. You look at everyone in M&M, whenever they played on Friday, Ian, everyone was popping off. Everyone was up for it. And then obviously they took it into Monday. Again, everyone was popping off. Everyone was consistent. And this is a good day for 86 to see how they can progress now, because we know they're up against a tough team next to Force.
Yeah, there are two things we can all agree on here. Number one, 86 well and truly deserve to progress. And number two, we would all love a slice of garlic bread right now. Do we agree on that? No?
I'll go for it.
Okay, good. Look at him.
I'll pass on the garlic bread.
I thought
I've had enough garlic bread, I think.
All right, up next, right back into the thick of things. It is Mkers versus Acend. Ollie, let's talk about the Italians first. Mkers, big international competitions they have performed in, and they've gone into them as underdogs, really. Do you think that because that's not been the case here in CL, it's been a bit of a detriment for them?
There's definitely an argument to say that that's the case. You know, coming into something as the underdog, you've not got that much expectation on your shoulders to perform. You can be very unpredictable. It's difficult to judge the level that you're playing at based off the competition that you're going up against. So it can be quite hard to prepare for something like that. Now you flip that and you come into Challenger League, they're going up against teams of a very similar level. This is the stamp. This is the caliber of the teams. And so far, we've not seen the best out of Mkers yet. We have seen them underperform based off the expectation and based off what we know they're capable of.
You're right. We have seen them underperform, Demo, so this has got to be some sort of a wake-up call for them, right?
It has to be. It's loser bracket at the end of the day. You lose, you're done. So Mkers have to go all in. There is no room for, oh, we just got, a bit slow today. Oh, we got caught. That's it. You're out. You're out. So yeah, Mkers need to come out. They need to make a statement, and they really need to show up today, because of course, Mkers, some people may think, oh, maybe they're not as good as what we all thought they were. We know what they can do. We've seen what they can do, and you always have to respect that. They are still a favourites. I don't care, even if they're lower bracket, I still think they're a favourites.
Even though they're in the Crocodile Swamp?
Yes, indeed.
So you say there, listen, if they lose, they're out. The stakes couldn't be higher, and you've got high expectations of them. So, let me ask you this, Ollie. If Mkers were to drop out of the tournament here and now, at this stage of the competition, would that be an embarrassment?
I think there's reason to say it could be a little bit embarrassing given what they were expected to perform on coming into this. There's going to be a big fan base out there. There's going to be expectation that they're putting on themselves to really put in a good result and a good fixture. So for me, yeah, I think there would be a level of embarrassment. And don't forget, it's such a long time until you get the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, just briefly as well, Ollie, before I move on, who do you want to see step up in particular?
I think there's a cause to say you could ask for all of them to step up in. We didn't see a great showing from Mkers, and there's more for every single one of them. I think maybe a talisman player, if you really want to build them as that, somebody like Gemini, you could ask for a little bit more from him, really making those plays and coming out, with some good decision making. Because again, that was something that we saw lacking. We saw no real control, no one really looking to take charge of the players and drive them in a good direction.
Now we need to address the elephant in the room that you probably don't know about yet, and that is the fact that Acend are going to be playing with a sub demo. So they're coming into this with SHD, who's stepping in for Jayash. What are you thinking?
Don't know the guy.
Yeah.
It's a big old question mark. It is. It's really changed, I think, everything that we expected to say about Acend now. It's going to be tricky. Very, very tricky. With a new player coming in, what dynamic does that change? It's probably going to be last minute preparation. There's nothing really going to be formulated over weeks and weeks and weeks of building up, as a team. Yep. So it is going to be a massive change. But, I'll say but, we have seen across different international events over the past years where a substitute can make a big splash. We have seen it before. I think at the time that Kanto, whenever he stepped in for Pinta Sports, which then went on to become G2, and look what they went on to do, it was the last minute step in. You know, we have seen some great players be formed just from stepping in and say, oh, yeah, I'm here, I'll give it a shot, and they get given the full-time job. So
yeah, there are two arguments to this story, I guess, Ollie, and that is that, you know, it could play to their favour. It could make them unpredictable. We keep using that word a lot here at CL, but it could, couldn't it?
It really could. And you look at who they're replacing Jash. Jash wasn't very well rated, let's be honest. Yeah, I think he was the lowest rated player on the side. So you've really not necessarily got that big of a boot to fill in terms of your contribution in the match. Now, obviously, contribution goes beyond scoreboard and things that we rate and look to put a number to. And ultimately, that can, again, come into your favour. If you're coming in there and you're like, I've got no expectation on me, I'm just going to go out and have a lot of fun. I'm going to treat this as a scrim, just go out and give it my best shot. This is now my CV for other teams picking me up. So he's going to have a best interest at heart, really, to put in a good performance.
Yeah, Demo, sub aside, let's just talk about Acend, because we know this team is capable. They didn't make it through the quarterfinals, which is, of course, why they're in this predicament right now. But they did do really well against M&M at times, especially when it came to the opening kill.
Yeah.
They just couldn't close the rounds.
I thought they were a good unit. Very, very good unit. Had a good game plan. Knew the way M&M wanted to play Chalet. They set up great for some of their attacks. They really caught out, I think, M&M massively. M&M had to claw tooth and nail to get that victory. You think of the clutches that Useless was able to pull off. You think of Nello, some of the plays he made. You know, it was not an easy game. It was not an easy game at all for M&M, and Acend really made them work for it. So there is definitely good points. It's very similar to what we said about 86 versus Defro in the first week. 86 might have lost, but they still looked like a good side.
I did talk about it in the pre-show, and it is that they have got a rough journey to be here. You know, they took on
Tough teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Two favourites.
Two favourites. Came through the open qualifiers right into the thick of things against two favourites in M&M and now Mkers. But I think we can get into the maps now with a little bit of luck and find out where we're going for this one. I'm going to come to you, Mr. X.
Let's see. Where
are we going? Let's take a look at the map.
We've had some good maps so far today. It's been nice. We've had some variety. Is that going to continue? At least, yes.
Yep.
I mean, it was the same three. It's a different order.
I'm happy we get to see Bank.
I was really looking forward to Bank in that. Honestly, in that first series, I would have been happy if it had gone to Bank. Coastline to kick things off. I mean, where do you go if you bring in a sub? Go to a map like Coastline.
Go to a
so honestly,
map.
it's not a bad shout there from Acend.
I mean, Makers have banned Oregon, which, like we mentioned, if you're going to, you know, I would say go up against a team where you know they don't really have the same chemistry of a new player.
Yeah.
Take away the most basic map because it's going to do you wonders. They've also then banned Clubhouse. Again, another basic map. Bank is a great shout. Great shout for Makers. It's a map that I believe we've never seen them play. So that's already going to be massive for them in many circumstances. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Makers is going to do today on Bank.
And if it goes all the way, Chalet, I mean, they showed some really good counterplay against M&M, and I know you really enjoyed that. So let's find out. Are we going to go 1, 2, 3? We need to find out. We need to get stuck into the first map. It is time to get into the action from the blue desk, back over to the golden desk with our Dutch duo. It is Anne and Anthox. Take it away, guys. Let's have it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chambers. And indeed, we're about to head into the things of a very interesting matchup. I mean, Acend, I was asking, can I still change my prediction? Acend is now playing with a sub. Can I? But you told me I can't.
No, unfortunately not. Look at the social vote. People are definitely rooting and hoping for Makers to win this game. I mean, we do see one of the favorites already in that lower bracket, but we didn't really expect them, so they're going to have to be fighting for their lives to get out of here. And their first battleground that we're going to go on is Coastline. That is Acend's pick, which means that Makers get to pick their side. They're picking attack, which obviously makes sense since Coastline is a little bit more attacker favorite, but Acend gets to pick the first ban.
Have they ever played against each other on Coastline?
They did. I'll touch up on that after the ban phase, if that's okay with you.
Of course, definitely. Let's first look at the bans, and it is Thatcher that gets banned first. And with that, that's a very default operator to get banned. A Maverick ban on Coastline is something that you do see at times.
Yeah, but Thatcher is a default ban, not necessarily on Coastline, though.
That's true.
One of the maps where I don't really rely on a Hard Breacher. However, we have the Heartbreach help and one of the Heartbreachers banned. So you're going to have to rely on Hibana or Ace or Thermite to get that VIP wall open, for example. I mean, the Mirror won't be in play either. Acend finishing this off with the last defending ban. They're banning the Velk. I think we have seen Velk banned in the both two maps earlier today as well. I think it was Hyperio that banned Valkyrie twice already. So no Valkyrie in play. You're going to have to find your information through some other way. But like you said, yes, this is a somewhat of a rematch as they played in the open qualifiers against each other. It was on Coastline as well. Mkers won 7-5 at that time. They also played Chalet against each other, but Mkers lost that. So, exciting things ahead.
You know what's also exciting?
Well?
I don't want to jinx it. Every time we highlight an operator, it gets 6 picked. So
Clash. You were going to highlight Clash, weren't you?
I was going to highlight Clash indeed.
Yeah.
But it's an Oryx. That's also exciting, right?
Yeah, I mean, Oryx on a map like Coastline, brilliant. You have 2 sets of stairs, the main stairs and the blue stairs. If you have a Nomad in play, or if you have anyone watching those stairs with a drone or anything, or a Zero, you're unable to walk back up them. So why don't you use the hatches? I mean, that's a really good pick here, especially 6 picking it. You might not be aware of that Oryx coming a third flank, and that could be detrimental if you're looking at Mkers.
It could be definitely detrimental here. It is, however, Mkers that gets to start on the offense with a pretty normal setup, right? We don't see anything crazy. We don't see a fuse.
No, I like the amount of vertical play though. So they were maybe anticipating that the side was going to be kitchen. So they're bringing the buck, they're bringing the sledge. You can open up a lot of things from above. Like we heard before in the previous Coastline game, you can't go for that surface plant anymore. Since that is not eligible for a plant anymore, you have to take that upstairs or you have to force yourself through Sunrise and everything. But we have some players in Hookah and Sunrise. There's some utility invested into there as well. The players of Mkers are around that Hookah area, possibly looking to clear out any roam, clear out that top floor first. The VIP wall might as well be reinforced if you want to take that top floor control. And they're quickly droning it out, making sure nobody is in that office, so it might be a split horizontal as well as a vertical take.
I like the play here from Gemini. He does not wait and doesn't waste any time. However, he needs to deal with an Oryx that's still sitting at the hatch, and that's enemy. Enemy trying to be patient, knows that somebody is probably inside of office, but is now getting double pressured. It's Gemini who gets the kill on enemy, and with that, the opening kill here from Mkers.
That is a really well-coordinated push there onto enemy. Just waiting, making sure you get some pressure from above as well. And then it was Gemini to get that kill there. Meluno also getting pressured, but this time in Sunrise, as it's Lolo already down those blue stairs. Could potentially do a lot of damage. Gemini also has opened up a hole into Sunrise, and Melu's getting flashed. Droned, once again flashed. He tries to escape, but there's a lot of drones around him. Scatter also trying to open up, but Melu's still able to pick up a kill onto Akui. How is that possible?
That shouldn't have happened, but it did happen, and with that, it's a 4 versus 4 situation. 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining, and they know that there's still somebody in Sunrise. They're trying to clear Mello here, who's still sitting tucked in the corner here. Will be cleared by Sasha. And with that, they didn't waste too much time on the side of Mkers. However, Ice with a refrag on Gemini, and that's a very important pick.
Exactly, Ravon with the very long lines of sight. They are aware of potential players of Mkers into that blue bar Sunrise area, and there are still quite some players there. What did they have for map control? It looks like they had blue, it looks like they have Sunrise, but they don't have any vertical play whatsoever. Player still in lobby is holding those long lines of sight towards jungle, so that's the first player they're gonna have to contest as soon as they want to enter into that hallway area. Players of Mkers seem to be stalling out just a little bit, as there's not really any map control that they're gaining so far, and there's not really anything happening.
There isn't too much happening on the side of Mkers right now. They're wasting a little bit of time here, not pushing Ice at the moment. With only 35 seconds remaining, they do need to start getting a move on. They will do so with Scatto, who's trying to toss a nade at Ice, and that nade does land, and it's SHD with his first kill in the Challenger League. Welcome to the Challenger League, and welcome to that beautiful kill. A 2 versus 2 situation, 22 seconds remaining. And we see on the side of Mkers that they're trying to rotate, and rightfully so here, Anne.
Yeah, Ravon's getting pressured onto the triple wall here as the breach is now open towards him, forcing him to go prone. Still on a lot of HP, but SHD inside. Ravon gets killed, which should cause the entry to side, but Scatter to pick up that last kill. This was a really good structured attack, just roading people out, making sure you get the information, nading that person behind lobby, which gives you the possibility to just walk into the side. That was a really good attack coming out from Mkers here.
It was indeed, and we saw Shade get his first kill on the side of Acend. So, you know, it's always good to see new players trying to step up. It's only been the first round, so still trying to get his feet wet in these deep waters, because it's definitely deep waters where Mkers is taking them.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going on to a second side. I mean, Acend, if they want to, they can go for kitchen once again, but I don't think they're feeling that comfortable. They're going to Penthouse Theater. It feels like we're going back to year 3 of Siege, when Penthouse was an often picked side, but now they bring in the Kite, potentially to hold that triple wall here off, and maybe even that VIP wall, because if attackers are trying to take control over VIP, they have to breach that. Looking at the lineup of Mkers, they bring the Hibana once again, so they could go for a potential breach. But now that you have the Kite on the board, you need to clear that Electro charge. You could put it everywhere, the Electro Claw, really. And then for Mkers to have to spot it out. Their drone work's been good, though, so I reckon they can spot the Electro Claw.
They probably indeed could. They're not bringing like an IQ or Twitch here, so it will be a bit more challenging. But with that vertical, with that vertical power on, for example, a Gemini, shouldn't be too hard to do. Of course, over here, we see that one of them is being played in a VIP. Of course, these new walls right here on VIP. Just trying to get the sweet spot, isn't he?
Yeah.
The new walls here on VIP, where there used to be a big window, have now been replaced by breachable walls.
He might be scared that they'll bring like a Kali, right? Because you can hold really long lines onto the big window with Kali as well. And the further away you place that Electro Claw, the higher the chances are of it actually surviving if Kali uses her lens on that double wall. So he's trying to get it as far away as possible, so players that are, for example, underneath, players that try and Kali lens that wall, it won't necessarily do much damage to the Electro Claw here. Enemy playing really aggressive in VIP, looking to get that tap onto Sasha, but not really finding the head of Sasha just yet. Players of Mkers onto the roof already, trying to get some control, trying to get some knowledge. Spotted out the Electro Claw, so that could be cleared from underneath.
So it is Coastline, the map that we're, of course, playing on. And on Coastline, it's usually a little bit more attacker favored, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And we're seeing that here from Mkers. Indeed, they've already have been able to win the first round. Oh, I like this Kate trick right over here. Just in the nick of time that he threw that Kate Claw. And with that, being able to keep this wall just open for a little bit longer. However, Mkers will not waste too much time and will decide to rotate. Gemini with the opening kill on Ravan, and that's the second opening kill here for Gemini.
Yeah, exactly. Able to pick up one more for himself. Akui just lurking around that main door. Melo still on top of the main stairs. It looks like Mkers is really trying to clear out that VIP wall. I mean, having the control over VIP could give you easy access, but Akui is trying to nade someone from underneath. However, Shade is aware of that and will step away. Enemy with the kill onto Scouto. And that is the Yana of the board. No more replicators, no more potential nades coming in from that side. Akui still has one, but that's it on the side of Mkers. Time is ticking once again, and it doesn't really look like Mkers have that much of map control.
No, enemy with a kill on Akui, and we can see here that the Hibana is trying to push, but flashes himself. Sasha, that's not the play, but enemy has no idea that Sasha is sitting in that angle. Sasha then gets the kill on enemy at 3 versus 3, but doesn't know that Melo is still there. Melo, no, you missed your shots, and now you get killed as well. Oh no. It's now a 3 versus 2 situation all of a sudden in the advantage of Mkers. Only 28 seconds remaining.
I like the line of sight that Ice is holding right onto this single doorway here. It's potentially going to get flashed in a little bit with the player onto the big window. Now that he's fully flashed, should let the players aside. Sasha is going for the plant as well. Ice with the kill on Gemini, forcing it into a 2v2 situation, but the plant is already down. Don't think the players of Esports are expecting that. Smokers are coming out, but Lolo is holding this long line of sight. The players of Acend feel kind of pressured now. Ice trying to take the recontrol over VIP here, but finding Lolo not winning that gunfight here, so Shade in a 1v2 could potentially go huge and is one of his very first Challenger League rounds. Goes for the swing, not really hitting anything just yet. Finds the Hibana there, but both are kind of struggling to win that gunfight. Running around aggressively with the shotgun, but he needs to go and do something because time is running out. He needs 7 seconds to defuse. Time is running out further. I don't think he'll have enough to defuse it out.
No, it's Shade indeed who will fall to Sasha here. And I thought for a second he was actually going to long arm it earlier in the round, while Sasha was still like literally on the other side of the wall. But it's Mkers up 2-0, and twice we had Gemini with the opening kill.
In the end, it looked as if Shade was a little bit struggling with decision making because you saw him trying to go for that gunfight in VIP, also wanting to go for the person outside VIP, but not really committing to either of these two. Would he have committed to, for example, the Hibana, just to swing it when Hibana wasn't necessarily expecting it? He could have potentially pulled off that long arm.
I think what was huge in this round was that Melo was missing his shots on Sasha.
That was very unfortunate.
If he had killed the Hibana there, it would have been a whole different story to tell.
It is very unfortunate because he was trying to go back, and then that was the player on the big window that was able to get the kill onto Melo. Very unfortunate, losing that gunfight there. However, now they're going back downstairs, feeling more confident in downstairs than they did with Penthouse. I did like to see that Kite play so aggressive. They were really trying to invest into keeping that control over VIP, and it nearly looked like they were going to be able to do so, because they were trying to trick the breach coming onto that double wall. They were just holding off as much control as possible, but still, Mkers managed to get in VIP, get open that wall, and just plant behind the bed. And I don't think that Acend was already expecting that.
We see the Oryx being brought again, and also the Thunderbird. Also see the penthouse hatch being reinforced, and then, why would they reinforce that penthouse hatch?
They want a hold of control from top floor. Once again, they're bringing a Buck, they're bringing Ash, they're bringing all these like breaching charges, so you can do a lot of self-destruction from above. If you want to hold a hatch, for example, I mean, if you can open that easy, you can drop into lobby and then gain control over bathroom. So I understand why.
Also, probably when you want to rotate, right? You have a rotate hold right there, and also the kitchen door. So it makes the bathroom door, excuse me. So it makes it a whole lot easier to rotate when that hatch is closed. The refrag will come here from Ice because he knows that Scatto just killed his teammate and is going to repel in. 2 quick kills in a matter of 40 seconds. It was once again Mkers with the opening frag.
Yeah, even though it's already 3 rounds in, Revan's not having the greatest of games just yet. Found himself being the opening death twice now. Now Mkers slow it down just a little bit to make sure that they know where the players of Acend are. One of them still in office. There's also someone assisting him around CCTV and security. Looks like they're also getting this up for control now. Gemini ever being down, as well as Lolo being killed by Shade. Enemy seems to fall as well by Akui, but Gemini is down. They need to pick him up. They need to regain that control over office, with still 1.5 minutes in play.
Yeah, it's Mkers that decided to wait a little bit. We saw Sasha here. He probably heard, wait a second, I'm picking up Gemini here, so don't be too aggressive right now, because we might be able to still help you. It's Melo versus Sasha, a little bit of a ring around Rosie, but in the end of the day, it's Sasha who pulls back and chooses, as we would say in Dutch, eggs for his money.
Yeah, once again, we see Melo being under heavy pressure in Sunrise. It's actually Akui just jumping in and getting a kill onto Melo. I don't think Melo would have expected him to just jump in. I think Shay was holding the long line of sight, but potentially missed a player jumping in. Gemini forcing himself down those blues. There's another set of flashes coming into the kitchen. Shade now under more pressure behind that bomb chassis, but the players of Mkers have gained control over Sunrise, as well as a bit into that kitchen hallway. Shade still trying to contest those long lines of sight with the SMG-11. Not really succeeding in that just so far, but time once again is running out. Mkers have quite some map control now. They need to push themselves into the site.
Yeah, what I like about Mkers right over here is that they played pretty much as a team, didn't they? And we saw Sasha pulling back out of sauna, as they would call, excuse me, out of, oh my goodness, it's a C4.
That range, that's a very well used C4 by Shay, because now the top 4 control is out of hands of Mkers. And there's someone looking to push into that kitchen window. Shay's still really close to that window. Akui trying to retaking the control over Sunrise because they have to. Ice, however, in the garden, loses the gunfight, and then it's Akui to get that last kill. How does he just get to run in there, winning that gunfight on the guy in garden, and then also behind the bomb chassis? It looked detrimental for Mkers when they lost that top 4 control. However, Akui just stepping up huge for Mkers, pulling in a 3rd round for them already.
So it is a quick rehost here because we lost one of the players on the side of Mkers, and do they really need that extra player? They're shredding through Acend right now, 3-0, and that's quite huge, right? beautiful play from Akwi in the last round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was looking quite bad when they lost that top 4 control. Really good C4 by Shade. I was thinking that was going to be out of range, but obviously Gemini was on low HP, so it'll do some damage to you still if you're further away from the C4. That lost them a top 4 control. They were looking to jump into that kitchen window and to have Gemini holding top floor with the buck and just trying to hold back any pushes onto that diffuser, but they lost it. Really good, quick rethinking of the plan by the few remaining players that we had of Mkers and just go force yourself through Sunrise. I was thinking Ice was going to win that gunfight there. He was just waiting for Akui to push into Sunrise.
Yeah, we're getting right back into action. It's 3-0 in the advantage for Mkers right over here on the map Coastline. And we know that Coastline is quite attacker favorite, but this attacker favorite, 3-0. Pretty good from Mkers so far.
Yeah, it seems that Acend's not really comfortable with Kitchen nor with Penthouse, so they're going to try Blue Bot this time. An essential point of the map so far has been Office. It seems that Mkers gets that control over Office quite quick, and if they do it this time, they might look at a really easy entry into the site, because the site is literally right next to Office. It'll be essential for Acend to hold onto that Office, as well as like anything surrounding Office, like security and everything. You don't want to have Scato, like he did last round, just repel onto security windows and find that first kill there onto Ravon. You don't want to have that. You want to keep that control in hands for as long as possible. Otherwise, you're basically giving free real estate to Mkers.
And let's not forget what Mkers did wrong against Reply Totem. And every time they would have a man advantage or even 2-man advantages, they would just kind of get sloppy and kind of get overconfident. And that's something that they seem not to be doing over here. So kudos to Mkers. They've definitely learned from their previous mistakes. We see that Akwi opens up the blue bar window over here. Was it really needed to use a S-charge for that? I mean, they don't have a castle.
They could have shot it open, but like, it puts pressure there. Like, you can't just openly rotate through blue anymore if that window's open. I think we do see one of the defending players sitting in that Office. Lalo just trying to drone him out. Nello has a C4 in hands. Could also just hold back that control in Office for as long as possible, but playing it quite safe, and that's what we want to see. Has that ADS there to potentially protect him from flashes or nades or any kind of throwable utility. But Mkers has completely switched it up. They're also traded around Sauna, trying to get the breach, trying to force themselves in through that way. Still also having Gemini on that blue bar window, forcing none of Acend to be able to rotate through blue bar.
It is Acend that still has presence here in Kitchen and also on the top floor, and you know, it's pretty good, pretty detrimental to have. They're currently in hookah. Not really getting put under pressure here by Mkers. They're deciding to kind of ignore that and are currently trying to get Office control finally in Aquarium. Does that also mean that they're going for a hookah push here?
Could be, because they're trying to get that top for control, but Mello has a C4, which I touched on really earlier just in a bit. Shade with the opening kill onto Scatter, though. I think Gemini was briefly looking to get that kill on the player in Office, but Akui with the kill onto Shade. That is not looking too good. Mello seems to fall to the shots of Akui as well. He's into the side. He's hiding behind the bomb. Gets up another one. How is he able to just walk into the side like that? Ravon, though, with those shotgun holes towards the blue bar, but Akui just walking in further. Picking up another easy. Could he go for the potential ace? Onto Ravon. Ravon picking up one onto Gemini. Been a 1v3 situation. Sasha's trying to go for the defuse, but Akui could potentially go for an ace here.
Oh my goodness, is it indeed going to be a Akui? It's a 1 versus 3 situation currently. Ravon has to try and clutch this up, and I'm really liking Akui here. He's not being too aggressive. He knows that he can get that ace, but he's just trying to play this cool. Probably it shows that Mkers is doing so much better this time, and Lola with the last kill, but a huge round there from Akui with a 4K, Anne.
I think what I really like to see this structured take from Mkers, because what they did is essentially in the beginning of the round, they broke the potential rotate through blue, shooting open that window. Then they potentially knew someone was going to be in Office. They decided to ignore that, just to not put pressure onto Office, because they were doing that all of those 3 rounds before. This time, they tried to take control over top floor. They tried to take control on Sauna, put some kind of pressure there. As soon as they had a player above and killed that person into Office, Akui just sprinted onto the side. That's the kind of aggression that you love to see, and that fits him up like Coastline so well. He was on site. The players weren't expecting him at all. He's able to pick up 4 kills. How is it happening?
How is that happening? Indeed, it is. Akwi currently on 8 kills, and with that leading the scoreboard for his own side, but also the enemy side, because Acend, the highest amount of kills is on the side of Shade, who's the newest addition. 5 kills.
Yeah, I mean, if you are stepping in for a team, right, you potentially play in unpredictable positions, like the analyst has pointed out earlier as well. They might not have prepped for where you might be. You might be able to pull off the things that a other teammate of Acend might not be able to do so. So I understand that your sub might be performing really well. It's really good to have Shade step up. You don't want to stop subbing for a team and then end up going 0-7, pulling out a James Bond, for example.
We have seen those James Bonds before, but so far not really seeing any just yet. Everybody has at least 1 kill. That's good for everybody's kind of self-confidence. It's now Gemini who's trying to aggressively enter here in Sunrise. Has done so successfully and can hold an angle on a potential roamer that's still below. Akwi playing quite carefully here, just peeking a window or two, trying to pick up a person that might be peeking a little bit too aggressive, but it currently seems that on the side of Acend, nobody's peeking. They're just waiting and saying, you know what, Mkers, we've been losing our gunfights. We finally want an opening kill, Anne. I haven't had an opening kill in 4 rounds. 4 rounds in a row, it's been Mkers.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. I mean, I like to see this roam, but a kind of passive roam. Players are just waiting for Mkers to push that. There's nothing really happening. I mean, the players of Mkers taking it slowly as well, just opening up onto this hookah balcony just now. Nothing exciting happening too far, but there's still a lot of time gone already. We're looking at already halfway through this round so far, and nothing really has happened onto the side of Mkers. All players still alive. It's only Shade that's taken a little bit of damage.
Yeah, a lot of time wasted on the side of Mkers here. They haven't really taken that much map control just yet. However, they are going for what seems like a potentially a default take here, and
it looks like that. Sash already in Aqua. There's also a player holding that top main, making sure that Mellow around top main can't just rotate, but this buck has been working so well for them. They're cutting off the rotates between side. That is allowing Sash to just go into the side, plant on the default spot. No C4 from downstairs to do anything with Scano and Akui both with 2 huge kills. Rafan going down as well. And now it's looking like utter chaos on the side of Acend. Smoke is coming out. There's still 1 more in the hands of Shade. However, he's able to pick up 1 kill onto Akui, but there's a player sneaking up on blue stairs. Gemini picking up 1, getting refragged immediately, but the diffuser is still down. Ice once again in a 1v3. The players holding those lines aside. Sasha to pick up that last kill. Another round for Mkers, and they are looking very strong.
5-0. You heard it. 5-0 here for Mkers. My goodness, it's time to wake up, Acend, and maybe just have a tactical timeout. What's going wrong here for Acend? It seems like, you know, it just seems like Mkers is. Just seems like Mkers is really on point today.
I wouldn't be surprised if they ban the buck next time. Not Mkers, obviously, but if Acend bans up banning the buck. It's been working so well for them. They're getting that vertical control from upstairs or from underneath. They were just cutting off the rotate. They were basically forcing that smoke to stay far back in hookah, so we couldn't throw smoke canisters onto that default plan. There was no C4 from downstairs. They had a player on top main, but they were holding the flank. This is looking like such strong siege coming out from Mkers, and I'm loving to see it.
Yeah, definitely, and you really see that they've learned from their mistakes, right? We saw it in that in a situation where Akwi had 4 kills. He could have easily gone for the 5th kill. He could have easily done that. But he said, you know what, guys? I'm just going to hold an angle just like you guys. Let's just play this out. I think the game versus Reply Totem really woke him up.
Definitely, yeah. They're playing this a little bit more passive, which is obviously good to see. You don't want to be over-swinging things here, being Mkers. They did that before, right, as you pointed out, versus Totem. And I mean, if you're underestimating a team, you might feel a little bit overconfident, but their attacks are looking really strong. It's just classic Siege. Drone out enemies, spot your enemies, make sure you get the control around them, and kill them. I mean, Akwi just walked into the side as well, for example, the previous time. Can they pull out that 6-0 flawless attacking round? Or will this be the point where Acend's coming back?
A 6-0 would be... It really damaged Acend's confidence here, I think. And I mean, we'll see if that tactical timeout has worked in the advantage of Acend or not. I'm curious to see whether it has. And sometimes I just wish I was a fly in the wall, and sometimes I just wish I could listen into these conversations.
I was like, a fly in the wall, what are you thinking about? Now it makes sense. I do like to see the kind of flexibility that's coming out from Acend, because they've not won a single defense so far, so they have never been forced to go to their side. However, they've tried all defensive sides, so they feel somewhat comfortable on all of these, or they want to try at least all of them. Unfortunately though, none has been working out successful for them. They defended Penthouse before. They tried to have a really strong hold onto VIP. We saw the kite play there. We saw him literally tricking that wall when the Hibana came out with the breaching charges. However, this time, there's no hard breacher, so I'm expecting a different take to come out from Mkers.
I like that they're bringing a Nook here. It's an operator that we don't see being brought that often, but it could very well work here for Mkers. We've seen Akui already walk onto site once. What is Lalo stopping from doing the same? He's already in Sunrise. He's getting droned. He's getting the intel. Yes, he should know that there's a camera there. The camera's being spotted out. Ooh, is he going for a nade here? Oh, he cannot go for a nade.
You can't nade that, unfortunately.
No.
But they have a lot of information. He could, as well, just sneak up on those cool vibe stairs. Surprising that player onto Vaster, but Slalo with the opening kill onto Ravon. That is indeed the Vamai around Vaster. Beautiful spotting out. Good teamwork coming out from Mkers. However, it's Lalo to fall now by the gun of Melu. So we're back to a 4-4 man count this time. Gemini rappelling onto top main window, trying to put some pressure onto the player in the penthouse door. Being assisted here by Scado, who's getting that bulletproof camera, which should allow Akui to just jump in there.
Definitely, it is Mello here that's still worried of a south push, and rightfully so. There's an Iana replicator drone here, and also, of course, an Ash who's still on the window repelling. Oh, that C4 is going to be tossed. It's explosive versus explosive, and the explosive of Scado wins this battle. Hey, Ice, you should have seen that coming, and now it's a 4 versus 3 situation in the advantage of Mkers. Mkers absolutely rinsing Acend right over here. Currently up 5-0, and it looks like it might become 6-0 here, Anne.
Very long line of sight being held by Shay, but unfortunately not good enough reaction time to get the kill on the player of Mkers there. They have the man advantage. Time, however, seems to be running out just a little bit. Akui putting pressure onto underneath. Melu is forced in all different directions as he gets injured now as well. 4 players remaining on the side of Mkers. Now Shade is being pushed further back into the side, but the players of Mkers seem to be coming from everywhere, holding lines aside, but Shay just gets the team kill onto Melu with the smoke canister. That can't be happening. Enemy definitely getting pressured, losing the gunfight to Gemini. And Shade in a 1v3 pulls out his last smoke canister. But Gemini is trying to pressure him here from VIP, being pushed from all these sides, and Shade just tries to go for the swing there, doesn't win the gunfight. It's Gemini to pick up that last kill, and a flawless attack in half from Mkers. They're looking at their first map point.
My goodness. 6 rounds in a row they have to try and close this out. 6 rounds. Should be enough, right? Come on, it's Mkers over here. Are we going to see a 14-0 here? Will be the first 14-0?
Mind you, this is a Sense map pick. That's unfortunate.
And we're going to Bank after this.
Yeah, that's indeed.
We still have to see Bank. Wow.
Definitely. First, defending half though, coming out from Mkers. They're choosing to go to Kitchen. They're bringing out the Alibi, an operator that we've seen a little bit more often since they buffed her MX4 Storm. They're bringing out the Oryx as well, immediately making those rotates there with his Ramadesh. Could also go for Hatches and everything. I think they're trying to take this top floor control, hold this top floor control for as long as possible. Scado would just be able to run around that map, literally trying to put pressure from everywhere, because that's what Make has been doing on attack as well. Is there a player in Penthouse? Fine, we'll just pressure him from underneath, so he has to run away, then gets injured and gets smoked off by his own teammate. But it seems like Makers is putting pressure onto everywhere, onto the right places. Could they do that on defense as well? Because that is looking really detrimental for Acend.
I'm liking the Finka pick here from Acend. However, yeah, maybe Acend needs to go for a little bit of a Hail Mary here. This is a very nice setup from Mkers, trying to play it a little bit offside. And if my eyes serve me right, there's literally nobody on site right now. Literally nobody on site.
It's the Wamai, which is very close to site, but trying to hold on to Sunrise as well. Make sure that the players just can't jump into the windows, but I don't think Acend is reading this properly, no.
No, I mean, it's hard to drone, right? I mean, there's a mute jammer, a couple of mute jammers around, so it's hard to drone this. But interesting hold here from Mkers, and it seems like they have set up a plan. They've set up a plan of like, hey, let's just make them know that we're in Sunrise and let them push Sunrise in office, and with that they might be able to get the frags. It is now Scato who's trying to fight against Shade here, and so far no damage on either side.
And he's got the rotate, so he could easily run back towards blue if he feels pressure just a little bit too much. But Acend also going for this very horizontal take. However, Mello just shot one of those alibis. Is now spotted out. Scatter, however, tries to shoot the Gemini replicator, but does not notice the Finka coming in right after. Ice with the opening pick onto Scato. And now there is a bit of more push into Sunrise coming. However, there's still a player in the hallway, still a player behind the Sunrise bar as well. So they need to force those players out too. Ravon on Hookah. Players of Mkers still above. They seem to also be everywhere on the map on the fence.
Yeah, it seems a little bit all over the place, and we see that Acend was able to get their opening kill, and with that they are able to get 3 opening kills in, well, 3 kills in a row into their advantage. Is it then the opening kill that's that's the deciding factor here? That's the question. It is now Ice with a kill on Gemini as well. Almost a flawless round here for Acend.
Yeah, Kui finds himself in a 1v5, has the ace clutch to potentially win this round. But Ravon is already onto the side, going for a very off-default plen spot, and Kui is just dancing around on the VIP bar, but just trying to go for a tactical timeout, it seems. He has a lot of time to go back towards his side and is able to defuse it, but I reckon the players of Acend are all just holding these lines aside, waiting for Kui to just go down the blue stairs, shooting down those bullets to indicate that he's going there, but a flawless round coming out from Acend onto the first map point that they're facing against him. Flawless round is just what they needed to maybe pull that momentum back in their own hands.
Well, it will take a lot more than, I think, just a flawless round here, and it is still 6-1 in the advantage of Mkers. But who knows? We've seen crazier storylines than that. It is now Acend who gets to attack yet again. And so far, I don't really see any differences in their lineup that they're bringing. On the side of Mkers, however, we see a Thunderbird. Question is, will that Thunderbird be 6-picked? Because that will be the caster curse. So far, no 6-picks just yet.
So we did see Mkers play quite aggressive last time. Are they really trying to invest into holding on to Blue Bar, holding on to Sunrise? If you have those Kona stations and you have those players running off-site, they can come back to site to get healed back up again and go for more engagement. So I think this is only allowing Mkers to play even more aggressive and to just try and hold on to that map control a little bit longer, because I reckon that Acend is going to have to take this horizontally as well. You can do some things from underneath Hookah and Sunrise, like we saw Gemini do on the Buck as well, just forcing and blocking off that rotate, but mainly this will probably be played horizontally. If you have someone playing in Aqua with a Kona station, and they can hold onto Aqua for a very long time, you're basically forcing Acend to choose another route, otherwise they can't just go for that default plant.
And of course they have a Vigil, so it'll be a little bit harder here for Acend to clear any potential roamers, especially with that Vigil still in play. It is, however, very important, Anne, for Acend to, of course, have Office and Blue Bar control, because there's still a Lalo with a C4, and also both Gemini and Akwi who have an impact remaining, and with that they can do quite some damage. And that same Lalo is indeed here in Sunrise, has been droned out now, and almost loses his head, but is able to pull back just a little bit.
Yeah, Shade now holding on to these windows, looking for a potential rotate coming out from the players of Mkers. Sees one into VIP, but reacts too late to get the kill there. It isn't happening. The player gets to escape from VIP, walking back into that hallway. And now Mkers still has that downstairs control, as well as literally anything on the map, because Acend is just lurking onto windows, lurking onto the roof, not really getting any kills just yet. Ice going for the pre-fire. Sasha knows he has to play this safe, has no smoke, and it just needs to stay alive for as long as possible to still do a lot of damage and to hold offside control coming out from Acend. Then are trying to pull off nades from underneath to clear out players in Aqua, but they're not there.
They're not there indeed, so potentially the droning hasn't been done properly. Let's not forget that they are running a mute. We see that Akwi can go for a A late flank over here. Melo kind of has an idea where Akwi is, and it's a gunfight currently going on. Akwi will try to open up a wall here, getting a better line of sight on the buck. It is, however, Melo with the kill on Gemini, and isn't that just a rotate he made? So you kind of worked against your own teammate here, Akwi. However, a refrag here from Lalo on Ice, and enemy gets the kill on Lalo. That makes it a 4 versus 2 situation in the advantage of Acend, and maybe you were right, and maybe this is the comeback of dreams.
Lalo was just overextending himself though. Ravon with the kill onto Scano as well. Sasha finds himself in a 1v4. Beautiful shot onto Melo, but the diffuser is being able to put down. Smoke canister coming out, but enemy is able to finish that diffuser. Nades raining in everywhere. Sasha being pressured from all these potential sides. Could go for a 1v3, but there's a lot of lines being held by the players of Acend. And Sasha's definitely under a lot of pressure onto half HP. Basically allowing the players of Acend to set up more lines aside, smoking off the cool vibes, so Shade needs to push back a little bit, but it's Ravon with that final kill. One more round in the hands of Acend, and I think that Mkers, they're trying to hold to the top, the downstairs control, but Melo just had a really good job into clearing those rumors out downstairs. And then we have Lolo in Hookah just overextending. He's being pressured from the window as well as Hookah Balcony. And he's just standing up, basically allowing the player from Hookah Balcony to peek him and to get the shot on him.
Yeah, it was Melo with the opening frag and made it not just one, but got 2 kills right there. And so far, Anne, every single round in which the opening frag was for a certain team, that team was able to close out the round.
Yeah, it's a common thing though in Siege. If you get that opening kill, you have the man advantage, you are probably likely to perform your strategy, what you had planned. If you find yourself, however, on the other side with opening dead, you might have to change your strategy a little bit. Not going for your plan A, and you might have to switch it to plan B, maybe a plan C, and then find yourself losing or running out of time, which is why we usually find that opening kill being one of those win factors into winning the rounds as well. Win conditions.
You know what that shows to me, Anne? That shows that the composure has been quite good on the attack. So far, only the attacking rounds have been won here. So it just shows that when the attacking team gets the opening frag, they don't overextend, right? They keep composure, keep playing as a team, and that's basically what both these teams are. You know, you have Mkers, who sometimes has a little bit of an aggressive play style, and sometimes can, you know, do some not so good decisions, such as against Reply Totem. But so far they've been really composed, as you said earlier, and they've been playing Siege so good, so composed, so well oiled. The synergy has been on point today, and that's for both teams pretty much, because Acend is doing exactly the same right now in attack.
Yeah, you're saying aggressive. Look at where the players of Mkers are. Most of them are offside. Quite a few players invested into holding a roam downstairs as well, but Ice got great information. However, the drone being shot down now by the Mozzie. As Ice is still rappelling onto that main source. When it goes for a pre-fire, but that won't connect to the player here. Akui sitting in VIP, and a very aggressive roam coming out from Mkers here. Then looking to open up that VIP while putting pressure onto the Mozzie in VIP. He's still able to live there, and a lot of time being wasted already by Mkers, just playing very aggressive all over this map.
Yeah, they are indeed, and we see a C4 being tossed here. Will do a little bit of damage on Shade, but it's Gemini who is able to get that kill on Shade. And with that, you would say this is game, right? It's Mkers with opening kills, so that means they will win this round, right? That's what you think. It's Melo with the refrag on Lalo, and that makes it a 4 versus 4 situation. 1 minute and 38 seconds left, and on the side of Acend, it doesn't really seem that they have a plan just yet. Maybe their plan is rotate back to the Hookah side of things.
It's looking like Akui's got a pre-play C4, but he finds himself on the other hand of Ice's gun. Looking at a man advantage coming from Acend now. Melo, however, on about 60 to 70 HP. Could lose a gunfight earlier. However, there is a RC return charge being sent in. Could potentially get the shield, but the shield on Vase still remains, giving Jaeger a little bit more of a safe place to hide. Melu can't really drone because the mute jammer is blocking his vision. There is a drone into Hookah. Ice with another kill onto Sasha, and this is not looking good for the players of Mkers. Gemini, however, wins that gunfight against them. An enemy. The Fuser is now dropped in the penthouse. Could he go for another one? No, it's Gemini to fall. Scato in a 1v3. The Fuser is down. He needs to contest this once again. But there's Von with the final kill onto Scato, and Acend is coming back into this match.
This will probably be a timeout for Mkers, right? Surely, you have to. You're losing three rounds in a row. You've been on match point for the past 3 rounds and you're just not able to convert it. Surely Mkers will ask for a timeout to discuss things. Surely. Well, surely isn't their name. They're going for blue bar hold.
No, it's not all lost yet. Looking at what Mkers has tried so far, they tried Kitchen once, and they tried Hookah twice. Neither did it work out. They still have 2 sides to pick from. They're going blue bar, Sunrise now, looking like they bring in a Rooney, so they're gonna waste a lot of time, which is what they've been doing so far. It took Acend a minute to even walk into the map. The players of Mkers had so many roamers, and when they had that diffuser dropped in Penthouse, I thought this is it, this is the map. Unfortunately, the Thunderbird wasn't able to capitalize onto that diffuser because there was another player of Acend right around, which was able to kill Gemini right there. So the diffuser wasn't being able to hold down there, which gave the control back into the hands of Acend. And I mean, Acend still needs to win 3 rounds, right? If they make a singular mistake, like they did before, smoking off one of your teammates, then it could be over.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some mistakes that have happened, and so far it seems like on the side of Acend that they've woken up. Just took a little bit of, you know, they're an old-timer. We have players like Enemy, players like Ravon, they've been in the game so long. You know, sometimes an old-timer car just takes a little bit of time to get started, right?
And now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Akui's been on 10 kills for the last few rounds. Nothing really happening from his side then.
He started off quite well. I mean, you know, we saw him on a 4K. Let's not forget that 4 of his 10 kills have been in 1 round. So it's a little bit of a struggle here. Scatto with a kind of a scary kind of a peak. However, he does realize that when you hear that LMG of ice, you just know, get the hell out of there. That's what you know.
Yeah, but it does really scare the players of Acend, because initially they were looking to gain that control in Hookah to get some pressure on above. Now they're really having to be thoughtful about where that player could potentially still be. Aquino with a kill onto Mello. And this could be huge because they're losing the buck. Say goodbye to your top 4 control because you don't really have that much to gain that top 4 control with. You have a Finka with a lot of bullets. You could go for random floor banks, but that isn't ideal. You want to have that buck to make those lines aside. And Akui is onto that top 4. Could go for a swing, could go to retake the control over Hookah, but Acend is just completely ignoring that. They're looking to force themselves into Sana, but look at that, a shield, a Surya gate, flashbangs coming out, nades coming out as well. That gets the kill onto Lalo, so we're back to a 4-4. You're losing your smoke. That is very unfortunate.
A second too late with that gate. If that gate was activated a split second earlier, that nade wouldn't have made it. It is indeed a 4 versus 4, and Lalo that gets to be on drone duty for the remainder of this round. It is Gemini who's overhealed. Of course, a Thunderbird in play, and that means that Mkers can take a little bit of risk. We see Sasha doing so. Has to watch out though. It's Ace, but Sasha wins the gun battle, and that's huge. That's Ace. That's the Finka off the board, and with that, Acend can no longer get extra HP.
Shade going for the pre-fire through the wall, but does not land all the shots. Akui still living. Players are looking like they're going to go for a little hog session in front of the sauna door, but they can't just force themselves in. A C4 still in the hands of Scattered. Top 4 control still in the hands of Mkers. And they're just wasting some time. They're stalling out now, trying to go into one of those RCE Rotero charges to get some information on where these defenders are, but it's not looking like they can do much. 45 seconds still left on the clock. They need to force themselves in. Enemy could go for a plan behind this bomb chassis, but a C4 in the hands of Scatto could be detrimental.
Are you looking at him? Scatto was literally looking at the Hibana, but it's Shade here with the kill and Gemini with the refrag. A 3 versus 2 situation. Mkers has the upper hand over here. Gets even more of the upper hand when Gemini gets a kill on the enemy. It's all up to Shade now. 23 seconds remaining. You're the newbie. You're the new player. You need to show off, and he does so by killing Akui. Gets the diffuser. Now has to try and get the diffuser down or get 2 kills within the 13 seconds that are remaining. And I think this is a little bit of a lost cause in this round, and also this map will likely go to Mkers.
Goes for the diffuser, but that's the only thing you can do with a little seconds remaining onto the clock, but chooses to save that round there. Mkers win their first map. It was the map pick of Acend, so a very strong showing coming out from their side. They had a flawless attack. Won 6 rounds on a very attacker-favored map. That seemed to struggle a little bit on defense, but it was a key to wake back up, getting the MVP of this match here, and they're showing very strong with a 7-3 on this first map.
Yeah, it is indeed A very strong showing here from Mkers, and they've woken up. They've played against Reply Totem, they've lost against Reply Totem, and they say, you know what, we're going to show a hell of a game today, and so they have done on the first map, leading 6-0, and then almost struggling to convert that last round, but in the end, they still did. I think if it wasn't 6-0, I think if it was like a 5-1 split or maybe a 4-2 split, Acend would have had a fair shot here of bringing it back.
Yeah, but I'm loving to see how strong Mkers' attacks are looking, especially when we're going onto a map like Bank next. There's a lot of potential for roaming, but the drone game coming from Mkers seems to be really, really strong. So if they can successfully drone out those roamers, get that map control real quickly, establish those vertical lines of sight with the buck that they've been doing really good, it could be a 2-0 and we could be done way quicker than we were thinking tonight.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, it's not over yet. There's still at least one more map, potentially 2 maps. So don't go anywhere. We're going right to a break.